Namaste, I'm Nandini Mouli, welcoming you all to another edition of Up Close and Personal, where we feature key Indian events happening in the Washington tri-state area. Today, I have great pleasure to discuss with you Mahashivaratri, a Hindu festival that is coming up very shortly. In 3 weeks, on February 24th, is going to be celebrated at Sri Siva Vishnu Temple, which is one of the oldest and most authentic Hindu temples in the Northern America. To talk about it, I have invited two eminent scholars associated with the temple. Shri Atul Rawat is a Fulbright scholar. He's also a writer, a journalist, and an academic activist. The government of India had appointed him as a member of the Indian Council of Historical Research, and currently he is serving as the general manager of the temple. Dr. Subramanian, of course, needs no introduction to all of us at the GTV family, including you viewers. He has shared the stages with me many times, and he's also one of the founding fathers of Sri Siva Vishnu Temple. Professionally, he is a neonatologist, a professor working at Georgetown Medical Hospital. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Atulji, I'll start off with you. Okay. As a historian, can you explain the significance of Mahashivaratri?
The Mahashivaratri is only one among 24 Shivaratris that come in a whole lunar year. It's the 13th day of the waning moon, and every time Lord Shiva is worshipped, but this one is supposed to be the one which comes in the Falgun month, the month of February and March, according to the Gregorian calendar. This one is very auspicious and special because of many traditions that are attached to this particular day. So, like if you see from the beginning of civilization, we have a very major story which is told and retold in many Puranas, and that story is about the a sort of rivalry between Brahma and Vishnu, and that rivalry is pacified by Lord Shiva by presenting himself as a column of great fire, which the ends of which are not visible, and he asks both Brahma and Vishnu to see the ends of it, to search for the ends of it. They both go and come back empty-handed. By this story, he is trying to tell them that the competition to be the bigger one is not something that will bring harmony. So the theme of unity and harmony are from the very beginning parts of this festival of Shivaratri. Then there is another story which is associated with the Shivaratri, and that is more common in central parts of India and to some northern parts also, and that is the story of Samudra Manthan. Most of us know about this story of Samudra Manthan, and it's the churning of the ocean. Mm-hmm. And this story goes that once the gods and the asuras, devas and asuras, they ultimately decide to pacify it, the war is over, so they decide to do something about making progress about things, and then they find out that they have to churn the ocean to get the great ratnas and other things. And so Mandar Parvat is taken, the Vasuki Nag, which is you find
big
in
the
big serpent around the neck of Lord Shiva. Mm-hmm. He comes and becomes the rope for the churning of the ocean, and Lord Vishnu himself comes as the Kachap avatar, the tortoise incarnation, and to sustain the Mandar Parvat. So this is a very big story, and after the great churning of the ocean, many great things come out. Lakshmi comes out, a Rawat elephant comes out, there are various kinds of precious things come out, and also comes out the great poison. One version says it is Vasuki who is taking out, because he is being churned like this. So Vasuki is throwing that poison. The others say that it comes out of the ocean. Now that poison is a threat to the whole world, and it is Lord Shiva who takes the poison, who drinks the poison,
Right.
and so that poison should not go below his throat, and his throat becomes blue because of that, and he is called Nilkant because of
Yes.
that. So Lord Shiva is to remain awake all through the night. So with that, the tradition of remaining awake through the night, that has come. The whole story tells us, in essence, you before I. The creation before an individual. And it is to sustain the creation that Lord Shiva is ready to take that poison. And then the wise people of the times, they say that, okay, even if he has taken the poison, it should not go below his throat.
Right.
So he should remain awake all through the night.
That's how the Sivarathri,
Sivarathri.
Ratri came about.
So the Sivarathri
came
and-
about. And
yes.
can you elaborate on the spiritual benefits the devotees would get by
Yes,
observing
I'll come to
it?
that, but
Yeah.
one more point I wanted to
Yes.
discuss before that, the third story, and that's very important. That is the story of marriage of Shiva. Shiva is like Sati has died. Sati, his first wife, she has put herself into fire in her father's big sacrifice, and after that Shiva is without a wife and is doing great penances, and the whole world becomes very terrified. So they ask Parvati to, and then Kamdev, and then Kamdahan, all those stories. In Kashmir Shaivism is very important, and in certain other parts of India, that is also associated with Shivaratri, that it is on the Shivaratri day
Yes.
that Lord Shiva gets married.
Right, right.
So these three very important parts of Shiva's life, something which is showing him to be so popular, showing him to be so generous, showing him to be someone who unites everything.
Right, right, right. So when people observe vigil in the night and fasting through the whole day, what kind of spiritual upliftment they would get, benefits they would get?
So we can easily define this in two ways. One is that what are the material benefits they gain, what are the spiritual benefits they gain. So, and they are linked. The first material benefit is that Shiva is also worshipped as the Yoga Guru in his Dakshinamurti form. So the Yoga Guru teaches us to control the body. The what you say, how to like control the body and be in Maryada. So those like not taking food and keeping a vigil in the night, and those things, they give us the bodily control.
Sense.
And from this bodily control comes the spiritual control. The spiritual attainments always come from the bodily control.
Fantastic, very good, excellent. So these are some of the things that people get just by going through the penance, so to speak. It's one day at least in a year that they need to do that. And Dr. Shiva, as one of the brains behind building this temple, you have seen the Shivaratri celebration being celebrated at the temple. How has it evolved over the years?
Yeah. I mean, it's a interesting question in terms of that, because over the last almost 35, 36 years, and after the temple has been built and consecrated, the Shivaratri started in 1990 and then continued from that on, and evolved into in terms of more and more community participation. The devotees can come and actually participate in many of the rituals that are done, along that. Let me recall a couple of events in this. When we will talk a little bit more detail later. It is not alone. There are in the nights it is divided into 4 columns, and then they do the pujas. The devotees actually do some of the chantings with the priests. As well as there is a lot of bhajans that are done in between as well by the devotees. That initially was along with in front of the Shiva Sannadhi, but then subsequently it went to the Vasanta Mandap, which was built a little bit later, and there was a lot of different groups came and started singing bhajans during this time. So that was an addition that was added. And the most important thing that was added was clearly feeling the personal needs of the devotees. There was a sanctified Shivalinga that was put on the Mahamantapam and then Vasanta Mandapam later for actually the devotees to line up and do Abhishek by themselves. This is something that is quite unique in terms of trying to establish, that was there in Kashi Vishwanatha Temple, and similarly it was established. You should see for about an hour or two people stand in line to go through and do that personally, and the satisfaction
Yes.
of the material and spiritual satisfaction one
Get it,
gets,
yes.
is immense,
Yes.
in terms of that.
Yeah.
There is also one more, story to recall. Just like, Shiva is in Kailash, since the function is coming in February, there are times that we used to have heavy snow. And there was one year, few years ago, there was such a big snow. The parking lots were all full of snow.
Yes.
And it was like as though being in Kailash.
Yes.
And but we couldn't even open that for safety's sake, the entire temple
Yes.
for the devotees. But there are many devotees came somehow.
Yes.
They dug through the snow, came to the temple. The priests, of course, they were able to make it from their home, again digging through that, and came and did that Sivarathri all night, like as though there was nothing going on outside.
Absolutely. That is the specialty of this temple, of this celebration, of this, because of the auspicious way the pujas are done at the temple, we all feel so welcome, so much part of the chanting or the bhajan singing or the cultural programs that go on throughout the night in the temple auditorium. The dance festival goes on, and I believe this is also planned for this year, isn't it? Can
That
you say
is-
something about it?
That is correct.
Yes.
Mrs. Mukund, as one of the dance teachers, and she was even president of the IDEA, the Dance Teachers Association. She is bringing, assembling group of dancers to come and dance, during this time. As you correctly pointed out, the cultural part of it, the dance and the singing, is part and parcel of celebration of many events, including Sivarathri. And so there will be a nice dance festival, if you will, of that as well. You will see that in the flyers that are going to be shown, that please, you are also welcome to come and enjoy not alone the puja and you performing the Abhishek to the Shivaling, as well as in terms of enjoying the cultural part.
That sounds like a fantastic day to celebrate, the Friday, February 24th.
Yes.
And you are also planning on doing the Kala Puja. Can you say something about it?
Yeah, this is very, very typical. This is done particularly in India. In every major temple it is done. From the evening at about 2:30 to 3:30, you start the function. And from that, for about almost 6 hours, you have a continuous different aspects of Shiva pujas are done. For example, the first Kala, where they do what is called Mahanyasam, which is an elaborate recitation of the Shiva puja, including, they are talking about 11 times, Rudram, Chamakam, and then Abhishekam.
Yes.
All of this are done. And so it's really a big, part of it, to participate. And then after a small gap during which bhajans are sung, and then the second column comes. The second, third, fourth columns are more brief, but then each one has got a special thing. For example, in the second column they do what is called Shankhabhishekam. What is the specialty about Shankha is Shankhu is a representation of Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. So it is the Abhishekam being done with all the three deities, onto the Shivalinga. And then the third column will be in terms of special kalasas are done that are sanctified, and then we do the Abhishekam for that. And in the fourth column, Abhishekam for Shiva and Parvati takes place simultaneously.
Yes.
And then there is the Shiva and Parvati is put on Nandi, the bull, and then taken out over the temple as a
Procession,
procession.
yes.
And with that coming back, and then with an archana, that the function closes for the day in the morning, 6 o'clock.
That's so awesome. That sounds so exciting to me. As a spiritual devotee, we want you to put it on your calendar, February 24th, Friday, and be part of it physically, mentally, spiritually, because all these events that both Atulji and Dr. Shiva talked about are all planned to give you the opportunity to be in connection with the Lord Shiva throughout the day so that you get the most benefit out of it. And so it's going to be once again available, more details and all at www.ssvt.org, and also at the phone number we have given bottom of this program flyer. And we look forward to seeing you at the temple on February 24th, Friday. Until then, I'm signing off. This is Nandini Mouli saying thank you to my guests and namaskars to you viewers. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Om.